on the baggers. All right, here we are, Mojave, California. Everybody's family at the Rock Inn.
Looking at the surface of the moon.
Dude, look at your torque number. Morning, boys. Well, what's going on? Should Luca come along for the day, or should we just go drop her off at school? What do you want to do? Go to school or hang out? All right, guys. Well, we're gonna go drop Luca off at school. So it's middle of December, low to mid 40s right now. We got a big day ahead of us. We're pretty excited. We're all on the baggers, gonna have a fun ride, but it's a school day, and anytime the motorcycle's getting pulled out of the garage on a school day, Luca's like, I wanna go on the back to school. Couple things we want to know today. We want to know how much horsepower. We know how much horsepower Juan's bike makes without NOS, but we want to see how much horsepower it makes with NOS. Also curious what the air fuel ratio looks like when the NOS turns on.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing that I want to know. Obviously, I haven't like used it a bunch. You just don't know what it's doing. I don't have a wideband sensor, and there's a chance it could be leaning out a lot. That's why I haven't purposely like leaned on it. Yeah, I'm interested to see what it's doing. Maybe it's perfectly fine.
We should have brought the other jet so we could pump it up to like 60 shot.
Whoa, dude, I want to be able to ride this thing home.
And then the other thing is that we want to do a cam install on the 2024 model bike. So we have a couple questions on that. One, what is the base horsepower numbers right now where it's at? And we're also kind of curious, we put the fueling air filter as well as a Bassani exhaust on it, and we want to know what the air fuel ratio is like. And should you guys be concerned if you throw those parts on your stock engine, and does the stock tune and stock ECU handle it correctly, or what is the air fuel ratio on that bike doing right now? Is it damaging, or should we fix it?
Just to be clear, the cam's not in the bike yet.
Yes, the cam is not in the bike yet, but we want to get a baseline. So we're gonna go out there, get a baseline for this bike, and then next week we're throwing a cam in it, and then we can see how much improvement we get by throwing a fueling cam, an oiling system, and a tune on this bike.
Anybody can look up like stock numbers on the internet, but like we want to know, it can vary from stock bike to stock bike too, so we kind of want to know what that is. And then plus that like, typically is crank horsepower.
The standard industry, or like the standard practice, is the ECU can compensate plus or minus 10%. The airflow gained from the intake and exhaust, we want to know if we're out of that 10% range.
Exactly.
Like, how much more difference do we make? Like, is the ECU okay, like to bring it back to dial everything in, or are we like pushing the boundaries? So it'll be interesting.
That was the smart version of saying what I tried to say.
So that's it, but first let's get Luca to school and let's go have a fun ride. We do have a fun route planned to get out to Mojave.
Oh, what's up, bro?
Good. Little custom thrashing gloves we did for Luca. Showing the palms. Nice. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's your first experience taking kids into school. Juan's got no kids, and Cole's kid's way too young.
Like training for me.
Hey Lance, are you gonna ride your bike all the way into class?
Yeah, and I want my donuts.
And you want donuts? Oh!
I'm parking my bike and then I'm getting donuts.
All right, kids are dropped off. Time to hop on the bikes and go hit the road. First, we all need gas though. Let's gas them up.
I'm running on fumes, brother.
I'm not gonna lie, boys, I'm pretty excited to go hit the canyons right now, get a little breakfast in the mountains.
It's always nice meeting up with the boys on a crispy morning.
So you guys watching this, it's about 40 degrees, so it's chilly, but we're out there. I'm sure where you guys might be watching, it could be negative something.
Yeah.
All right, gassed up, ready to go. And next stop is the Rock Inn. It's at Lake Hughes, California, about an hour away from here. Get into some cool canyons, go through Castaic, hit some canyons, and we're there.
I didn't realize how bad my back tire was. It's like slick right now.
Oh, you'll be all right, dude.
This ride is the same ride that we did when we picked up the 24 bagger, but backwards, right?
A little bit different, but to the same location.
I'm down to ride my bike. I'm just saying the numbers might be a little skewed on the dyno if it spins the tire.
Juan hasn't tested. He designed this whole sweet setup for the front end of this bike, and he hasn't got to ride it yet. So I think Juan hops on that thing, checks it out. And,
I'm down.
I'll hop on Juan's bike.
I wouldn't give him full credit for he designed this whole thing. He engineered it. There's a couple other people helping design it.
Hey, if Juan's bike spins on the thing, maybe both of us could sit back here while Allan's on the front of it.
Approach the bike,
I
bro.
know. Coming into town, we had to go through like a little bit of like
the ice signs were out, so
Yeah.
I was like going super slow. But even then, like this short fender, definitely, yeah.
got the muck on the bike, but they're made to be used. So I saw temperatures up to like almost 60 degrees when we were on the freeway,
Yeah.
and then it started dropping into like the mid 50s, low 50s, and now it's like 45 degrees here.
We got here at the perfect time. I'm ready to have like a warm cup of coffee.
Yeah, let's roll.
What did you think of the riser setup? You
Dude.
haven't ridden it yet.
Well, the tires on my bike are smoked, and I could feel that.
Well, yeah, I could feel that.
But it's so smooth. That bike is so comfortable, and like obviously we've done testing and I've ridden different combinations of it.
Yeah.
But at the first time I've ridden with the spacers, well,
Yeah.
not the first time, but like put a decent amount of miles on it with the spacers, and yeah, Yeah, it's super comfortable. I'm 5'8", and the seat's perfect. Like it rides so good.
It's been months since we've ridden baggers, and
I was just
so
gonna say that.
Nice.
We were all on the
road trip on the back. I feel like I could ride from here to Sturgis, no stopping, no food, nothing. Just get there.
After riding to Sturgis on our Dynos and been riding our Dynos quite a bit, hopping on these bikes has been a game changer. Even in the 40-50 degrees, it like so much wind coverage.
And
feels
when we talk to each other, it's the same thing as driving in a car on a long trip. Like it's the same thing. There's no difference at all.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But those roads were sick. It's cool too when you're able to do it on a day like today where the roads were empty.
Yeah.
Cool that we could like comfortably like crush miles, but then we could have a lot of fun in the canyon.
Yeah, 100%.
Just try to warm up a little bit.
Feel my limbs again.
What are we thinking, boys? I don't know, breakfast burrito, eggs, cheese, hash browns, ham, bacon, or sausage, or all three with a side of salsa. First things first, so coffee.
Yeah.
You got breakfast tacos? Hard shell breakfast tacos from my boy Juan.
Thank you. Cheers, boys. Look at how happy Juan is. Diner cup of coffee on a cold morning. Dude, I love having a wood fire right there.
It's so nice. I know you guys can't feel that, but that is... Oh.
All right, Juan, did you make up your mind finally?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It's like the menu's a typical breakfast menu, the same thing you would see across the United States, and he still can't make up his
That was
mind.
the most unconvincing yes I've ever heard. It was like a yes, but no.
I was still reading the menu.
It wasn't convincing.
I'm just gonna get a breakfast burrito, please. Do bacon.
Okay.
I'll do the 3 eggs. Can I do them over medium? Bacon, hash browns, and do you have sourdough?
Ready. I'm gonna do the 3-egg omelet, and I would like to add bacon and mushroom.
Brother.
There it is, dude.
Thank you.
My omelet is just bacon and mushroom. I'm pretty simple. I got the
Hash browns?
hash browns. I was like,
And after that, I just had a
Hitting the spot.
running down was hilarious.
How much horsepower increases do you think Juan's bike's gonna get from NA to nitrous injected? I forget, what were your horsepower numbers prior?
it was like almost the same
As a cubic inch.
as cubic inch. It was like 106, and then it made a little more torque. It was like 110 or 111 torque. I think that's a realistic goal or expectation, a 120. The shot, it's supposed to be like 35, 40 to the engine, but it's a completely different setup. So we don't know how that correlates to like a Harley-Davidson. So I'm genuinely interested. I'd be stoked if it's anything above 120 and it's safe. Like if
Like if Allan says that you can keep running it?
keep running it, I'll be stuck with that.
The hard part is the parameters that you have to go by. Above 3 grand, only at full throttle.
Yeah, how are we
Can't
gonna do
res
that?
them.
He's gonna have to be like, and one of us have to be like on the NOS or
He'll
something.
Yeah.
get it, he'll get it.
But I think like a little over 120. I think because you can feel it. You hit the button and it goes.
I think this is the first time in vlog history that me and you smoked Juan eating.
My meal was
Look.
way bigger.
It doesn't matter, dude. You're like a
Normally you're like a garbage disposal. How is that?
I'm taking my time and enjoying it. It's really good.
Oh, you're gonna do it under base?
Yeah, I got a nice little butter sandwich, like a butter hamburger.
Whoa, dude, you like pancakes with your syrup? Dude, look, there's like a half-inch layer of syrup on it.
Syrup and ketchup on everything.
Jamie is over there. She's enjoying her breakfast and I didn't want to ask her to get up. I just said, hey, do you mind if I put a little heater on my coffee? Some days you may find me working staff here at the Rock Inn.
Family at the Rock.
Hey, you hear that? Everybody's family at the Rock Inn. Cheers. I love places like this. All right, boys, it looks like we have a 43-minute ride to Mojave, California from here.
Puts us like ahead of schedule.
I would rather be ahead of schedule for Allan. And if he's there, then we can get started earlier. Hey, thank you so much.
All right, you guys.
Thank you.
guys
Yeah, have a good one.
Drive safely.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Juan, how long has this place been here?
It said 1920, right? 100.
1920? I don't
It
know.
said
1929.
All right, so
100
almost
years.
100 years.
People would pull up here on horses.
Yeah. And what was cool is everybody in there made you feel like home. Is like
Yeah.
I was able to go behind the counter and pour my own coffee. And
That's right.
It's so cozy, like you said. I don't know if it was on camera, but like every guy that comes in throwing wood on the fire.
yeah. All right, so we're about 45 minutes away from Allan's. We're gonna throw some of these bikes on the dyno. I gotta, before we get on the bikes and as we start thinking and we head our way towards the dyno. Stock 117, NOS 107. Now I think when we raced these bikes, we took both of these bikes to the drag strip.
I think this was faster, but it had a new tire. That racing, it was like so much on like the first launch.
Okay.
It was quick though. It was bone stock then, didn't have an exhaust, didn't have an air filter. But this thing was fast, and I messed around with some of the mapping, dude. The thing ripped.
2024, yeah, Road Glide, Buyer's Guide, 105 horsepower, 130 torque.
Damn, 130 torque?
Dude, so they're putting out 105, 130. That's with the stock air filter and stock pipe. So we obviously don't know what this did to the tune, but I'm curious to see how close the numbers are to that.
And is that to the tire or
I was
to the
gonna
engine?
say.
I know,
I don't know.
is this with NOS going to do it? Dude, okay, so cammed 107 with a pipe and a tune and an air filter and us.
All right, it has to be faster or more power. You know why? Because when we raced in Mexico on the freeway, my bike smoked both of you guys.
Chill, dog, chill.
Wait, oh.
This one beat at the drag strip. This one has king of the drag strip.
Because you had a fresh tire.
Oh, now all of a sudden it's tire. Shows up to the race with a bald
look at
tire
my
and
tire.
then tries to blame it on the tire.
No, I wanted
You're like
a
the
new
guy
one.
that shows
All
up to
right.
the fight and says, oh, I had a cold after you lose. All right, Cole and I decided we're gonna flip-flop bikes. I do really like my 2020 cammed 117 and just the whole setup feels comfortable. I'm gonna go on the stock 2024 model bike.
I got you in the right mode. We got the sport, which is quick. Then we got the new map.
A for a-hole. They're gonna start in first gear and they're gonna go head to head. Here we are, Mojave, California. Temperatures were about 48 degrees on the way here as we were riding through that. That was a pretty beautiful section, to be honest with you, with the just kind of open plains and the rolling roads. And what's going on, Allan? Were you nossing it during those races?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, so during those races, we just did a couple races on the straights out there. I said straights, not streets.
Straits of Mexico.
The Straits of Mexico. Still, I think that my 117 kind of pulled the most. Would you say maybe on NOS you're kind of catching up?
No, I mean, I missed a gear.
Okay.
And I came around him.
Okay.
So my bike's for sure faster than that.
Once we got into third, Juan started yarding me. But he also, like, I saw him, like, I don't know if he hit limiter or missed a gear.
I missed the gear.
Yeah,
I fell
and
back like a full bike length.
Why did you miss a gear?
Because I was like full throttle, clutchless shifting while on the nitrous.
This bike, you and I did our race when you were on your NOS 107. I was on the stock 117, and you took off right off the get-go and walked me. The easy, like you were pulling a bike length within 100 feet.
It's fastest out of the three with nitrous, obviously.
Yeah.
But when we were like just rolling, like having fun, and like you were getting on this, and I was just trying to keep up. It would this bike's fast, NA versus NA.
Yeah, for sure.
This thing rips. Absolutely rips.
Yeah, this bike's fun to ride, and I genuinely love the analog gauges, and I like the old school styling. Like
the reason I really enjoy riding both of your guys' bikes is I had a 2020 Road Glide. It was before Thrashin had Top Tree though.
Yeah.
So like I had the pullback plate and that whole setup, and like now riding this, it just feels so complete and like perfect.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like this whole setup. Is that a dry clutch?
Running a primary chain wet and then a dry clutch
Dry clutch.
to get the heat out of the clutch,
Okay.
because it's a kind of a slipper clutch.
Yep.
So when you back off the throttle, it opens up the clutch plates.
So check this out. The bike has no rear brake pedal on the right peg. And then where is the brake, Allan?
It's a thumb brake.
The thumb brake. How is that riding that? Like, I know you've had to have test rode it a little bit, right?
You have to get used to it, but when you're road racing and you're in corners and stuff where you're trying to, and your foot can't get to the rear brake, if you can use that up there, that's wonderful. When the fast guys are road racing, they're using that about 70% of the time, because you get off the front brake and onto the rear brake and it loads the bike in the corner. So they're braking and throttling at the same time. So it sits the bike down and squats it, and then they release the brake.
This bike has a ton one-off pieces, things that we've never seen, like the thumb brake right here, right?
Yeah.
Thrashin easy shift.
That's right.
Connected to all this high end. That's pretty sick, dude.
Yeah.
So what we came here for, I'm sure Luke kind of gave you a little bit of a rundown. We're gonna cam the 2024 model bike next
Later,
week.
yep.
But we wanted to get a baseline, and we also wanted to see how far out of like parameter the bike is running with a pipe and an air filter and no tune.
That's what I just did with the 2023. It's got the pipe and the air cleaner on it. It's still operating in okay parameters.
So I wanted to kind of see what it was doing to this one right now, and also get a baseline tune. And then, like I said to you in that text, we want to see how much performance gain this gets with a shot of nitrous in it. Because if you remember, you tuned this bike, we put the cam in it, it had right about the same cubic inch to horsepower. It was like right at that 107 horsepower. So we're curious how much more that horsepower number goes up when you push that button. You ready for it?
How big is the shot that's in there?
Well, the kit was for like a side-by-side. It wasn't like a Harley kit, and they said it was 40 horse. I don't think it's 40 horse.
But there's also not a fogger either.
What do you want to test, Juan?
Let's throw this bike, because we're not gonna put the O2s on my bike. We could put the wide bands, and I do want to see if we can get some reading on it.
This right here, that A,
Yeah, it's green.
it's
That's
like
what it
max
is.
everything. Peppy.
That's how we should test it,
Yeah.
because that's what we're going to want to do when we tune it.
It's crazy, the throttle response is almost like it's too touchy. Flattens off, and it seems like at the top it's the same power. It's really just that bottom you feel.
70% of the power, the first 20% of the twist.
Well, we need to test it in both modes to see if it's doing anything at wide open, or if it's just the drivability that it's making really aggressive.
Man, I thought it was scary riding our bikes under the jack. This is way bigger.
Well, I can get a reading just in the muffler.
Just like an overall, not full
Yeah, it's
front.
just going to be an overall. It's not going to tell us front or rear.
Yeah, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, it's just a little base, and it's a baseline. We'll kind of see where we're at.
We'll call it an average.
Reason being why it's going to be a hard deal to get the air-fuel ratios in this exhaust system, there is a spark arrestor kind of plate going through the back. You can, if you can see in there, you're unable to get the reading devices per cylinder because there is a perforated plate. And then we were just looking at the O2 sensors, and kind of a pain in the butt too. So it claims 105 horsepower, 130 torque.
What gear was that tested in?
I don't know, 4,600 RPM.
Or is it just like, is it a crank number?
We're gonna do 6, 5th, and 4th.
It says 105 at 4,600 and then 130 pound of torque at 3,250.
I think it'll do 105-ish to the tire, but the torque seems
Somebody's gonna have to
astronomically
tough it
high.
out.
Well, that was quick.
I know you want to hear it like bang limiter. And I think as he went lower in gears, he was able to get closer to redline. But yeah, I don't know if you guys saw 109 was like the
109 was the mile per hour limit.
Yeah, it won't be a problem when the bike's tuned. Right now it's completely stock, so we were just gonna have to live with that. It started sounding meaner as we were getting upper in the rev range.
So 6th gear, we're looking at a power of 92 horsepower and 124 torque.
Shut it off right at like 4250 though.
You could see too on those graphs, right? It just like goes up and then drops.
5th gear will give you more horsepower because it'll go out farther in the RPM.
So then now we're seeing in 5th gear, we're seeing the bike putting out 100 horsepower basically. And then the torque dropped a little bit at 120 foot-pounds of torque.
So do we think those numbers on Google are to the crank?
It looks like it. I mean, what did it say, 128 torque?
130.
130, I mean, given the test conditions, a couple percent variance, we don't know where they were at when they tested. I think it's close enough. I mean, it's already reaching at 100. I think we have another gear.
And if you were able to pull 6th gear all the way to actual rev limiter, would you see more horsepower and torque numbers? So the 4th gear pull about the same, 98 horsepower, is that 18 or 10? I can't see.
118.
118, 118 torque.
That's pretty stout. I'm impressed with the torque. I did not think it was going to be.
Did you turn traction control off?
Is that standard for when you dyno stuff?
It should be off. It should be off in that green mode, isn't it?
No, you have to be like at 0 mile an hour.
And you actually have to
hold that.
Let's rerun it.
Unconfirmed, we believe the bike had traction control on those last like 5 or 6 runs.
What reminded me was he said it stuttered in 4th gear. Maybe the wheel was trying to spin.
So maybe we'll try a 5th gear since we see 5th put down the best number.
My bike don't got none of that traction control. It's all right here.
Does your bike not have a traction control button?
No, because it was a COVID bike and they were taking stuff off of them, remember, to be able to ship them?
Well, even my bike was pre-COVID and didn't have traction control.
Oh,
because
really?
I didn't have base, but I had like not a CVO. Lance has traction control.
It didn't change. How do you know it's off?
What was the air-fuel ratio kind of telling you? Did you look at that much?
Right, it's pretty high. It's pretty lean, but we're not getting a good reading back here.
Yeah. So what would you tell somebody that came in and this is what they did? Would you say like, your bike needs a tune, or just keep riding it?
I would probably want to look at the spark plugs and see what they look like. Plus take what you guys feel on the road. If it's not feeling like it's surging or leaning out, it's probably okay.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's surging or leaning out when we ride it.
Sometimes when the bike is lean, it can cause you to use more throttle position because it's not pulling or making power. So you'll use more throttle position and your fuel mileage will actually go down, even if it's running lean.
Gotcha. Well, would you mind if we pulled the spark plugs and gave it a quick test?
Hey, Alan, do these bikes ever try to walk left or right in the rear when you're dynoing?
If they got bad swing arm bushings and everything. I get bikes that do some weird stuff up here.
Just leave it.
If it was like paper white,
Paper white is bad sign.
yeah,
Like
and,
don't write it.
and fluffy,
Detonating.
super
Lean. And what would be like pretty normal? Like you want to see some brownish?
Not really. You want to see them like a tepid white.
What does
See how
that
that
mean?
one's showing us the orange,
Yeah.
kind of an orangish glow.
We were looking at the copper inside or the ceramic inside.
The porcelain on the inside and this is heat marks. And that heat mark is probably getting there because it's probably running a little lean. The real key is to look down inside if you want to see what the air-fuel ratio is to look at the bottom of the porcelain because that'll give you more of where the fuel is under power. We're not seeing any heat marks on the ground electrode, so I would say that the bike's been running hot and lean. Typically you want to see this heat mark. There's a little one down here where it changes color.
Yep.
Typically we want to see this up here on the radius. Yeah, it's also air fuel ratio, but the orange color, some of it can be the fuel additives that we have today. I would also say it's lean in real heavy loads because if I look down inside the porcelain and run down the side of the porcelain, it's white and it's fuzzy.
We're in the danger zone.
Yeah, we're in the danger zone.
What do you see, Cole?
I see white. I see white and fluffy. Looking at the surface of the moon.
What do you think, Alan? You think we've been to the moon?
No.
He's on our team.
No.
I mean, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I definitely know what it looks like.
That was given to me from Champion.
The OG champion.
Almost looks 3D
I was gonna say that.
Fuzzy, right? Is that what we're looking for?
It's weird because the fuzz looks so big because it's so magnified.
It looks like a carpet. Okay, so
You want that to be smooth and shiny like it is, like it comes out of it. Like if you look at a brand new spark
Yeah.
plug, just a little bit tan color, just a tiny bit.
That's crazy. And I know I just changed the spark plugs on my car yesterday and I was gapping them, so I know that how smooth it looks. It looks like ceramic when it's new.
The orange color is the thing that's hard to identify with today's additives and stuff, but typically when you get that kind of color, especially over here where it's burnt and black, that's some real heat in the motor.
So yeah, the
see it
little
there,
the
the-
little black lines, or is that what you're calling?
Hold
the
it where you
heat
think. Let me
marks?
see if I can film it. Oh yeah.
Black freckles that you see,
Yeah.
that's detonation.
The thing looks like a polka dot dog, dude.
See this side of it? Yeah.
Oh, no.
So you
Oh, yeah.
And that's a sign of it being lean and maybe just a little too much timing.
Wait, the polka dots on the white
On the
piece?
porcelain, yeah.
I'm scared to look at my spark plug.
your bike's up next, dude.
I was gonna say, and like people watching, detonation is right, like when the spark happens before you get to top dead center, so technically it's trying to push as the piston's coming up and then it's pushing down.
It happens before the ignition, before the spark plug fires because of the heat and the leanness of the fuel mixture.
Okay.
The leanness of the fuel mixture and the heat causes the fuel to take off.
I felt that in my race bike. It's terrifying sounding. It's like, you know, this thing's about to go.
In the pipe and the stock ECM, you're pushing your luck.
Yeah.
You can ride it. It feels pretty decent.
When
It's not
warranty's
gonna. It's not gonna live long like that.
Yeah.
When warranty's about to expire, go get your bike tuned. We also learned that me and Juan need a new tool for the R&D room, so we
Yeah.
can check all the bikes when it's time to bring them to Allan.
But next up, we have Juan's 107. We'll see how much damage the NOS has been doing to his bike and how much horsepower it actually increases over regular 91 octane only going into the
And
system.
I don't know if he said it on the camera, but you want to take the air filter off so we can wash the spray?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cole, have you ever taken a bike off the dyno? It feels weird when you go over the drum, huh?
Yeah.
All right, what's the issue?
I'm just trying to put some heat in it. The warmer, the closer we are to the green, the better. I think we could still run it. Does he have a heat gun?
Yeah, he's got to have a heat gun, something to warm it up. You don't have to have happen to have like a heat gun. We want to warm up the NOS bottle. It's a little cold.
There it is.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect.
All right, it's going on the lift.
It's almost as if he was a professional motorcycle rider.
Yeah.
That you say you could beat on a sport bike.
Going
down, dude. I'm setting it up. We're going
We could hop on the race bike right here, unrestricted. We're taking this whole thing off. One, because I want to see like the nitrous spraying into it, but just like velocity stack.
You know the dirt that gets sucked in there, right?
We're running it. We're running it. Hey, we're at the drag strip. I was taking off.
Even at the drag strip, that's terrible.
That has bongs on it, yeah.
Then we could see how much the danger zone is when he hits the button. All right, so what Allan's doing now is he's removing the O2 plugs that Juan installed 6 months to a year ago on his bike right here for the head pipes. That way we can get an actual accurate reading about what this bike is doing under NOS. Juan, what are you doing right now, dude?
We're trying to heat this up. So see the gauge rating about 750 PSI. We want to get it at least in the 8 to 900.
And technically you want it chilling in the green right there.
Yeah.
And that's just all on temperature?
It's temperature based, yeah. So you heat it up and the pressure inside is going to increase.
Okay. All right, so here's how he's running it, and you can see threads are right there is technically where it goes in. All right, boys, what do we think? 107 horsepower is what it had originally. Been a couple thousand miles since.
You got to do a run no nitrous, just on the motor, see where it's at now.
Problem is, it's not going to compare because you're doing it with the air cleaner off. It's going to be
So
different.
now there's another variable. We'll see if it improves. The motor's a little more tired. You want to keep it warming up, dude?
More than 10 horsepower.
More than 10?
With
okay.
nitrous?
Yeah.
I think like 15 to 20 gain.
It's tough. It's faster than the flame bike. So the numbers are better, but the torque,
But there was already better numbers NA.
horsepower, but not torque.
Okay. So my bike had 117 horsepower and like 120 torque or something, 130 torque.
This thing pulls hard on the top.
Yeah, so this pulled harder. The 117 cam still launches on this bike. NOS hasn't kicked in yet.
I mean, I think the difference you saw in the beginning was user error.
User error.
Like
And you were the user.
Yeah, 100%. I spun the tire and then I tried to click a gear without using the clutch, missed the gear, and then I still came around it. That's like pretty big speed difference.
All right, Allan, how much horsepower do you think we're gaining?
10. All the runs that we had before that we tested to were in 6th gear, high gear.
I don't think I've ever sprayed in 6th. Though. It's in like 3rd, 4th, 5th.
Juan's rod is gonna be on your dyno by the end of this.
You got a bike and can ride back home.
How much do you spray with, is this the horn button, right?
It's the horn button.
You got to hold it down the whole time?
Hold it down, and then just as soon as you let go of the throttle, let go of it. And I spray at 3,000.
You don't start until 3,000?
Yeah.
Do you have like a net we can put under here to catch the crank when it blows out of the cases?
The fire extinguisher's right back there. So we'll get a couple baselines off of it with no NOS.
Yep.
And then I'll start at 2 and then hit the button at 3.
Yeah.
But we'll change the notes on there.
So when we're ready, we'll hit this up, and then the horn is
Okay.
That's just like to arm it. But right now.
First couple runs, no NOS. We'll let you know when we turn the NOS on. Horsepower so far. Oh my God, frickin' beast.
beast.
Hey, we haven't told them what it is yet, but I can tell you guys, it blew our minds.
Yeah.
It's more than the four of us thought, right?
Look when he hits it. Look when he hits the switch.
I mean, you can hear it. It sounds like you
Look.
downshift.
Right there. Hits, boom.
The air feels look pretty good, right?
Yeah, I mean, it goes a little bit lean right there when it comes on, but it's actually a little bit fat.
So what happens, I think, because I'm tapping into the fuel pump that feeds the injectors, when you hit it, it kind of drops the pressure from the injectors a little bit,
That's
and
why
then
it stumbles right there and then takes off
it
right
catches back up.
Yeah, you should
It spins the tires, like even when we do like a second gear, when I hit it, it like, because the tire is bald, but I mean, it pulls away like pretty hard from like
Maybe you should wait to hit it in 4th and 5th gear.
Yeah, we've never gotten there.
But out on those roads, we were in like 2nd and 3rd. So we saw improvements by taking the air filter apart and only using the velocity stack. This bike put down 110 horsepower, 4 or 5 more than the previous baselines you
But
ever
it's
had.
also colder. For sure, I think there is an increase.
Okay.
But I think a little bit is due to the fact that it's a little bit colder.
We said around the 15 horsepower increase, right? And Allan was like, oh, probably 10. And when we saw that stream coming through the velocity stack on the other side, it looked like someone had a garden hose. I was just like flooding it, dude.
Okay, right here, what I have on this bottom screen.
Dude, look at your torque number.
Yeah.
Oh
we were
my
looking at
God, I was just looking at the horsepower number.
Yeah,
Oh.
looking at the torque.
It is spinning the tires, why it's giving us this, and then it catches up with the same gear ratio.
25
horsepower.
So we went from 110 horsepower to 135 horsepower to the tire.
118 torque to 163 torque.
You guys can see original number 110. Right above it is 135. That's the horsepower. And then the original torque was 118. And then the improved torque was 163. There are some variables because of tire slipping, but either way, this bike improved tremendously. And like you said, the air fuel ratio it's probably not even as bad as the untuned bike.
The untuned one's way dangerous. This one's not.
Yeah, baby.
That's wild. How crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how much this little 107 likes the
You know
nitrous.
which way to turn it?
How do we feel?
The spark plugs look a little
used
used up, but I mean, we're being pretty aggressive. Like Allan said, we don't have anything that pulls timing on it when we hit the nitrous. Normally, if you want to be safer on it, you back out some of the timing.
I mean, everyone was expecting that something is going on in that engine.
So the air fuel ratio looks like it's pretty good, but probably don't want to live on the nitrous the whole time. You know, here and there is probably fun, but
Well, it was exciting to watch.
yeah, it was.
There's Juan's trophy.
So when you get to be an expert rider, what you do is release the brake over the roller and then pull it back on after it gets off, and it grabs traction.
So now maybe I can win at Willow Springs on the road course.
not
See, it doesn't transfer. You're still
Not
learning how to load and
Not
unload
happening.
from Dyno. Even though you guys are professional motorcycle riders, it's just different. And
Allan was a pro.
I know.
Yeah,
What, were you pro?
Yeah. So we have 3 pros and 1 beginner.
All right, so for sure he would smoke us at flat track.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
give him that. 100% he'll soak us at flat track.
Okay, the YouTube doesn't know the argument we were having, so it's too long to explain.
All right, guys. So we had a ton of questions answered. This bike is not running in the safe zone. We should have a tune on it if there is a pipe and an air filter. And we now have the dyno numbers right at about 100 horsepower and 120 torque. And next week we have Luke showing up to help us throw a cam in this thing and a fueling oiling system. We'll be back at the dyno as soon as we can to get you guys the numbers of how much improvement that is. The one that really impressed all 4 of us here, which was the little 107 that could. What did we get,
That's right,
man?
dude. We were 135 horsepower.
Wait, well, what did we start at? We improved by taking the air filter apart.
Yeah, we took the air filter off. We were running it straight like race program, like we see like those drag race cars and stuff. So we were running only the velocity stack, and we got to 110 horsepower. Like the last 2 runs back to back were 110 horsepower, and they're like 118 torque, which was better than last time. And I mean, the bike feels really like happy. It's a fun bike, but once we put it on the bottle, we got it to 135 horsepower and 160 torque, or 160 something. And the rear wheel was spinning a little bit, so the number's not 100%, but it's gonna be close. It's in that ballpark, and it feels like pissed off. It feels like a bat out of hell, fighting for traction in first, second, and third gear. I know the tires beat, but it's fun. It's fun to ride.
That was exciting to watch, exciting to see the NOS be pumped in to the throttle body. I think we all had a lot of fun. We all kind of were mind blown about how much the NOS really did. We hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with the 4 of us just now, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
See you later.
Down the road.
What you need is this attached to the suspension so you get the NOS.